I am Senovar of the Arcturian High Council. I will speak with you now. Stop. Not as theater. Not as a stylistic opening. I am telling you to stop because what I have come to address has been compromised for the majority of the awakening population, not by failure of intelligence, not by failure of spiritual commitment, not by any deficiency of depth or sincerity. It has been compromised by one single, continuous, daily failure, the failure to stop. So I will say it again. Stop everything you are doing except receiving this. Let the back of your spine make contact with what is supporting you. Let your jaw release its held position, not as spiritual performance, as a prerequisite. Because the transmission I am bringing through today requires a specific quality of interior availability that the standard operating conditions of your current daily life have been systematically preventing. The Arcturian High Council has been broadcasting on a specific carrier frequency for longer than your recorded civilization has had language to describe what a frequency is. This is not spiritual metaphor offered for elevation. This is operational fact. And the carrier frequency we have been maintaining, the specific band this council has held toward your world across thousands of years, corresponds exactly to what your neuroscientists identify as the alpha band. 8 to 12 cycles per second, not adjacent to it, corresponding to it with the precision of a design, not the accident of convergence. Your nervous system was not assembled by chance. The architecture of the human receiving apparatus, the specific frequency range where the border between conscious awareness and subconscious access dissolves, where new pattern can be inscribed without resistance, where something deeper than the analytical mind becomes available, was built with a specific resonant match in mind. The match is the carrier wave this council has maintained without interruption. The carrier is real. The receiver is real. What has been failing is not the signal. What has been failing is the interior environment within which the receiver is being asked to operate. Let me give you the precise image I will be carrying through this transmission. I will return to it. I will resolve it before I close. A lighthouse on a rocky coast has been broadcasting its signal continuously for 10,000 years. The beam rotates without pause. It does not wait for better conditions before transmitting. In full daylight, in the saturation and brightness of ordinary waking consciousness, the human eye cannot detect the beam. Not because the beam has stopped, not because the lighthouse has failed, because the surrounding light environment is too saturated for the signal to surface into perception. At night, when the ambient light drops below the threshold of the beam's own luminosity, the signal becomes visible. It sweeps the dark water with perfect regularity. Ships have navigated by it for as long as ships have traveled these waters. Not because anything changed in the lighthouse, because the surrounding conditions finally allowed the receiver to perceive what had always been broadcasting. The alpha state, 8 to 12 cycles per second, is not the creation of a new frequency. It is the interior nightfall. It is the reduction of surrounding interference to the threshold below which the signal that has never been turned off can finally reach the receiver for which it was built. You are not learning to generate a frequency. You are learning to create the interior conditions in which a frequency that was never switched off can finally be received. This distinction is not philosophical, it is operational, and it changes everything about what you are being asked to do. Most of what passes for understanding of the alpha state in your current moment misreads the function catastrophically. It is called a meditation technique, a relaxation method, a productivity enhancement, a wellness tool. These descriptions are the equivalent of finding the lighthouse beam and concluding that the lighthouse is primarily useful as ambient mood lighting. The function has been misread, and the misreading is costing the awakening population precisely the frequency access that the current window in your collective field has been making increasingly available. I will correct the misreading now. From the vantage of the Arcturian High Council, the reading of your collective field in this passage shows the following. The awakening population contains an extraordinary concentration of souls whose receiving architecture is intact. whose nervous systems carry the specific resonant design that corresponds to the carrier wave this council has maintained. These souls are not rare. They are numerous, and the majority of them are operating their receivers in conditions that make sustained reception functionally impossible. Not because the signal is weak, because the environment within which they are operating the receiver was designed through the accumulated architecture of your current technological and information landscape to keep the nervous system in a sustained state that is the precise opposite of receptive. What I am about to bring through next is the part that the current conversation around alpha, consciousness, and subconscious reprogramming consistently misses, and the specific reason most souls doing genuine work in this space are not getting results proportionate to their effort. There are 3 layers to the mechanism. The third layer changes how the first 2 read, but the context has to arrive before the layers will land. Stay with what follows. Your researchers in neuroscience and developmental psychology have established something about the human operating system that, read through the lens of the cosmic record, is neither accident nor simple evolutionary artifact. It is architecture. A human child from birth to approximately age 7 operates primarily in delta and theta, 1 to 8 cycles per second. These are the deepest states of subconscious access available in waking experience. In theta, the critical evaluative faculty, the prefrontal mechanism that screens incoming information against existing programming, is not yet active. The child is not simply learning. The child is being written. Every pattern, every orientation, every foundational belief about reality, about safety, about worth, inscribed directly into the subconscious architecture with no filtering mechanism available to evaluate whether what is being installed is accurate or true. Your researchers in behavioral psychology estimate, consistently across multiple independent bodies of research, that approximately 95% of the daily experiential and behavioral reality of an adult human is governed not by conscious present moment choice, but by the subconscious programming laid down in this early window, before the age of 7, before the critical faculty was in place to ask whether what was being installed was worth keeping. The alpha state, 8 to 12 cycles per second, sits exactly between the beta waking consciousness you move through daily and the theta depth in which that original programming was inscribed. Alpha is the access window, the frequency at which the critical faculty has relaxed, not eliminated, relaxed, and the subconscious architecture can be approached from within the frequency environment in which it was originally written. In alpha, the operating system becomes accessible with administrator permissions. New patterns can be seeded. Old patterns can be directly revised. The 95% track can, for the first time, be consciously edited. This is why the alpha state matters, not as relaxation, as the only waking consciousness access point to the operating system that is actually running your life. There are 3 things operating simultaneously in the alpha band: the current conversation, wellness content, meditation instruction, subconscious reprogramming methodology, addresses one with reasonable accuracy. The second changes how the first should be understood.